Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, the embarrassment that the Malam Buhari cabal, the regime, is able to bring the Nigerian person is without end, and the shame that these people bring upon us continues unabated, and there is no end in sight. So with that guys, I bring you this, what Buhari Ramaphosa did in South Africa on Thursday. So that's the headline, what Buhari Ramaphosa did in South Africa on Thursday. So now just a bit of background before I delve fully into this story. Now every man and his dog obviously is aware of the Nigerian South African situation, with all of these people attacking Nigerians in South Africa, and all of these people, by that I mean the South African population, especially the lower classes within that country. So the South African lower class population attacking Nigerians within their country for the successes that the Nigerians are achieving. So it's envy and jealousy obviously at play, and of course the thing of Nigerians going after all of their women is not really helping matters either. So that's the background to this story. So we have seen countless videos of all of these attacks, burning down shops, attacking people, to the point of some gruesome videos that we've seen. I don't want to be too explicit in this particular narrative, but you've all seen the videos. So off the back of that, the Nigerian population have now responded to the point of now going around all of the known South African businesses within the Nigerian state and shutting it down. And this has now, of course, forced the hands of Malam Buhari regime, because you have to remember that the people, the Nigerians I mean, in South Africa are of course of the southern parts of Nigeria, and Malam Buhari does not especially care for these people, so he was happy to ignore it. But because of the publicity and all of the hoopla that has been around this story, he has now been forced into a reaction. So now Nigerians are now being attacked in South Africa. So now what then should happen? The Nigerian government then should stand aloof and defiant and quite aggressive, and take an aggressive stance and weigh down upon the South African nation with full force, and force them of course to come and plead. But then what of course is now happening is that the Nigerian president is now going to South Africa instead to beg these people for killing his people. So now with that background guys, I bring you this, what Buhari Ramaphosa did in South Africa on Thursday. So that's the headline, what Buhari Ramaphosa did in South Africa on Thursday. So now let's see what the gist of this begging trip is. South Africa and Nigeria on Thursday signed 30 trade and cooperation agreements weeks after a wave of violence against Nigerian nationals in Johannesburg and Pretoria had strained relationships between Africa's top two economies. News agency of Nigeria reports that Presidents Cyril Ramaphosa and Muhammadu Buhari, at the conclusion of a two-day visit by the Nigerian leader, said they regretted the violence and subsequent retaliation in Nigeria against South African businesses, pledging instead to deepen trade ties. Recall that in September, mobs armed with makeshift weapons attacked businesses and homes owned by foreigners, leading to at least 10 deaths, dozens of injuries, and up to 400 arrests. In response, Nigeria repatriated around 600 of its citizens living in South Africa. The local unit of South African telecoms company MTN and supermarket chain ShopRite closed all stores and service centers in Nigeria after their premises were attacked by Nigerians protesting against attacks on their compatriots in South Africa. As the government of South Africa Africa, we have expressed our deep regret at the attacks directed at our foreign nationals and our condemnation of all forms of intolerance and acts of violence, Ramaphosa told reporters. Ramaphosa said the two countries had sealed 32 bilateral agreements and memoranda of understanding covering trade and industry, science and technology, defense, agriculture, and energy. Also speaking, Buhari said beyond the economic partnership, the anti-foreigner violence had to be addressed quickly. So I hope that I was able to read that particular speech that they gave him in context, because we are of course still reeling from his embarrassment at the United Nations. We decided to take concrete measures to prevent the recurrence of such unfortunate incidents in the future, Buhari said, or it was written for him to read out. So this is now our Malami, the Aboki, going to South Africa to do idobale to this Mandela's boy, this person in South Africa, this Ramaphosa element. So as a way of punishment to the South Africans for slaughtering Nigerians in their dozens and hundreds even, the Nigerian government has now gone to South Africa to go and do the idobale position to these elements that we saved from apartheid. It just beggars belief. It is unfathomable. This goings on within the Nigerian state is just is crass and crude, really, everything and anything that you read from the Nigerian state. So let's just recap. So Nigerians have decided, actually, let's go further back than that. During the apartheid region, Nigeria spent both its money and its political cachet to battle that apartheid regime to the end. Nigeria was at the forefront of the battle against the apartheid regime, and Nigeria was singularly the lead name that brought that apartheid regime to an end and rescued the black population of South Africa from these Dutch elements that's come into their country to have dominion over them. We rescued these people from slavery is effectively what I am saying, and Obasanjo was at the lead of that. We spent all of our political capital all over the world, and we became like a pariah at some point, because you remember that Margaret Thatcher was saying that Nelson Mandela was a terrorist back in those days, and Obasanjo then, who was our counterpart in Nigeria, was saying no, this guy is a freedom fighter. So we took Britain head on to fight for the rights of these barbarians that are now slaughtering us. So what is the thanks that we now get? Because a few of our citizens have gone into that country to evolve their development, because they do not have an educated black population, and we have an educated black population. So we've now had some of our people go into their domain to evolve them and give them a brain and teach them how to think, and a lot of Yoruba people have gone there to sort of develop their minds, because obviously the minds of these black South Africans, they've had no access to any form of learning throughout all of their lives. So obviously we've now sent a significant portion of southern people, because I'm not aware there are any northerners in South Africa. So a significant number of southern peoples, a lot of Yorubas and some Igbos, to go and develop this country's mindset so that they are able to then think properly, and the best thinking, of course, within the African space is the Nigerian thinking. So they have the advantage of that opportunity. And what is the thanks that these people are giving us for all of these things that we have done for them? We rescued them from slavery, we are developing their mind, and what is the thanks that we are getting for all of this is the slaughtering of our people. But then how do we fight back? We fight back by our president, the Malami, going to South Africa to adopt the idobale position to the half-wit president that they have in South Africa, instead of him to order the South African president to Abuja immediately to come and kneel down from the airport and be walking on his knees from the airport to Aso Rock, begging and pleading to every Nigerian that he sees that for forgive me, sir, we have offended. No, our own president, or at least not my own president, but the president of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, because it is, of course, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu that appointed him, so he can be his president. So Malam Buhari is effectively the president of one man in that country alone, the man that appointed him as president, which is Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. Where he got his professorship, I shall go and have to do a research on that and put that in the description, because I'm not quite sure where this guy went to do his learning. So the president of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, Malam Buhari, has now gone to South Africa to go on his knees to this guy that is slaughtering his own people. So what incentive then do the South Africans have to stop this killing is really the question that I am asking, because if they slaughter your people and then you go to their country and go on your knees and say, please sir, then what incentive then do they have to stop slaughtering your people is really the question that is being asked here. So conversations in the comment section, come answer this question for me, because I'm completely befuddled, but I'm sure you are not, and you can expand my mind on this one, why this Malami Buhari has gone to South Africa to go and do a dobale to this non-person Ramaphosa. So all of this I want to hear all about, so you can enlighten my mind. But before you come spread this knowledge that you have to my lack of knowledge, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what our Aboki has gone to do in South Africa exactly, in ways that I can understand, in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, join you in the comment section, but here I say peace.